I died, but I'm still playing, so clearly the game is doing something right. In my last video, I played for 6 hours and called myself an expert. Now I've played for 50 hours, so if I was an expert before, I am now a super expert. And not much has changed, in my opinion, on the early game stuff at least. Late game stuff, it's not super interesting, but it is like Old Realm of the Mad God. If you enjoyed that, definitely play this as well. I haven't done a lot of the in-game dungeons, I'll admit. I haven't done Ancient Ruins. I haven't really done the Rampant Citadel very much. I did do a couple Shrine of Divas. It's okay. This boss, since I last played, has gotten reworked a bunch. It has less health and less invulnerability, plus a new last phase. It's really nice. I ignored all that dialogue. I probably should have read it. It was the lore. This is still probably the best dungeon out of all the dungeons I've run. I think I mentioned this last time. It's been improved. This phase is no longer buggy. It's actually quite stable and enjoyable. The boss does only have 2 phases, but the 2 phases are both relatively strong. I've also run a lot of Chasms of Dread, you can tell by my 33 essence. It's still a very visually repetitive dungeon, and the enemy variety is rather low, but I do like the boss fight. It has been updated as well, it's easier now. I've learned a lot about the spawning mechanics of the realm as well. It spawns in a clock pattern starting here, going around the map up to the void aspect, which spawns at the top, which means we're actually very close to the void aspect. Darza happens immediately after the void aspect. This is the Primal Marsh. It was really bad before. Now it's actually kind of decent. There's this sign telling you have to hunt down Darlock. This dungeon does not have a quest marker, you just have to run around until you find the boss. If you're not maxed, you're going to struggle with these enemies. Fortunately, I'm maxed, so I can effectively ignore them. This fight has been changed countless times. Currently, it's about to start. He jumps. That's right, he jumps. There's not really any warning. These shots don't do much damage to a max character. I think they do around 50 damage. And also shoot a shotgun of 4 shots. Let's see if we can see that. It doesn't fire it every time. There it is. Those do 100 damage per shot. I'm maxed though, so they don't do that much. Phase 2 is also rather rude to unmaxed characters. There's these 2 minions that will chase you relentlessly and fire relatively high damage shots, medium high damage. If you don't have enough speed to outrun them, it's just a pain to do this phase. Since they're chasing you constantly, they're always right on you. Overall, after numerous reworks, this dungeon is not nearly as bad as it used to be. Darlock's dialogue is really strange and inconsistent. If we want to talk about the lore again, these will tear you to shreds if you're not maxed out. Even if you're maxed, they hurt pretty bad. You have to kill these to progress the fight. This phase is like the worst phase he can do. When you kill his minions, he'll do a phase where he attacks for a bit, and then he spawns the dogs again. That's right. This isn't based on damage, it's based on time. So the dogs, if you have low DPS, will spawn a lot. And if you have high DPS, you won't really see them very much. And then he does this final phase. I'm just going to let this play out. Look at that. He's also tiny, and that's, unlike Realm of the Mad God, indicative of his hitbox. Now he's slightly bigger, so you can actually land hits on him. This boss is rather annoying. It teleports several times throughout the fight. It'll go to all the sides. It's sort of thematic in a way, which I do appreciate. You have to go through everything that you went through throughout the entire realm to get to Darza, fight everything. The aspect of the void also copies the attacks of all the other aspects that you fought throughout your journey. This one in particular is what killed my Worm Rider. It has insta-kill flames that it shoots out during one of its phases. Really scary phase, but also if you have enough DPS, he does absolutely nothing, which isn't the best design, but hey. It'll get fixed with time, I'm sure. The developers are really active, which is good to see. I hope they do cool things with this fight, because it's the charge up to Darza. You're fighting Legion, Conquest, and Corruption. They're named after the aspects that you see in the realm, or I suppose the aspects are named after them. Unfortunately, one major concern I've been having is vault space. I have 2 vaults. They gave away 1 for free, and then you start with 1, of course. It isn't enough to really hold much. I have a few items in there that I've collected over time, including even more unique items. I got very lucky when I started playing, though it's been a while since I've gotten anything cool. I just don't have space for potions at all anymore, and you can buy vaults with gold, of course, which you can earn for free, but the quests take a very long time to complete. Some of the ones that actually give gold, like Nomad 3, takes an incredibly long time to beat unless you're specifically farming it out. That's one of the big payouts. So a lot of the gold is long-term goals, which doesn't really make sense since you really only need it early on. to get yourself going. And I've heard they're going to add a daily quest system where you do a quest every day and get 25 gold, which will just make those rewards for the long-term quests even more useless. So I'd wish that the gold was earned from the short-term quests, and then you got something special for the long-term ones, something to keep you playing after you've maxed a character. Since right now, other than those quests, the only long-term goals are white bags or UTs, unique items as they're called in this game actually. It's hard not to use realm terminology on this since I'm so used to playing that. The Darza fight's actually kind of cool, even though it's not super difficult. Since the UTs are so rare in this game, dying is also pretty rare, unless you do the in-game dungeons. I've heard those can kill you pretty easily. Naturally, I get nothing but cursed spirits. Darza often drops just tokens. These tokens are very good. They're like the regular ones that I had previously, but they're guaranteed to give you a top tier item each time. They only drop from in-game stuff, but Darza fortunately is considered in-game stuff. It looks really nice, I'll give them that. This is a really nice looking dungeon. The boss especially has a fully animated sprite. Leave our forest. It seems like there aren't actually any bad guys in this game. Everything's just like, please leave. It's not even rude, it's like, please leave, we don't want you here. You're just gonna kill us all. It's kinda true. It's really hard to gauge how difficult this dungeon is when I'm fully maxed and this is supposed to be a medium level dungeon. Although I'm already kind of bored of the green in my face all the time. Be nice if there were more of these varied rooms. This one's got a little bit of brown. Maybe that's because it's the main path. These rooms are also huge. You take one wrong turn and it takes a very long time to walk back. I can't imagine doing this without max speed. I will say I'm very laggy. I'm getting a lot of frame skips. It feels very choppy. It could be the amount of trees and projectiles. Okay, this must be the boss area. We've got stones. Where were these for the rest of the dungeon? Leave this place immediately. No, I'd rather not. Are you gonna become vulnerable? Do I have to shoot the sword? Oh, I have to shoot the sword. It's a lot of shots for a mid-game dungeon, don't you think? A barrage of something. Oh! Oh! That's nice. There's shots coming from the walls. That's cool. Didn't expect to see that in a mid-game dungeon. Something. I missed the dialogue again. Really should appear in the chat down here so I can actually see it. Oh no, is it gonna be like Luke Oryx syndrome where it's just the same phases again? It looks like it's just the same phases again, but rainbow. Oh, there's more. There's whatever that is. This is really a lot for a mid-game dungeon. Okay, that dungeon was incredibly long, and there doesn't appear to be a realm portal. So I don't appreciate that. It looks nice though. So after playing this game 50 hours, although the gameplay is very repetitive, it's still nice to grind. Maybe you'll get that rare white bag every now and then. I know some people who really like getting the rare white bags and like the game for that. Although personally that's not something for me. I prefer to have more common ones, and death is more of a factor in the game. So if you liked that about Realm of the Mad God, the old rare white bags and UT trading and all that, definitely try this out. Even if you didn't, still try it out anyway. It's pretty good if you enjoyed Realm of the Mad God. One thing I haven't mentioned previously that makes this infinitely better than Realm of the Mad God: very quick load times. That was less than a second. Really don't approve of jumping enemies. If an enemy jumps, it should be very well indicated and not just be an instant kill. A lot of the Godlance gods are instant kills. The bear was super deadly, now it's only kind of dangerous. There's one of the Asuras in the Shrine of Devas, the Crimson Asura, does some really untelegraphed jumps. It's certainly not something I want to see in an in-game dungeon. If I die, I want it to feel like my fault, not like, oh, I didn't know that guy was gonna instantly jump on me and instantly kill me. Having limited mana is really nice, since you have to think about when you're using your ability, at least when it's a Worm Rider. When you're an archer, you just kinda use it. This ability is really boring. A lot of the abilities are boring, although I've only played Worm Rider and Archer, so I can't speak for other classes authoritarily. Oh, that guy's about to die. Or no, they're a Juggernaut. Juggernauts do die. As I was saying, this class is really boring to play. You just shoot shots. It's not very skilled. It's just a burst of shots. There's no aiming to it. One thing I would change about this though is stop selling these, since right now there isn't a huge key meta, but if people decide to start buying these, most of these dungeons aren't even once per realm. Like, you're not guaranteed to get a Harpinger's Oblivion. If people start just buying these to skip that grind, then the realms are just not going to be worth doing if I'm looking to do these dungeons. Obviously, as it currently is, Darza is the best source of tops and all that. You don't have to do this. It's not too late. That's all I have to say. Thanks for watching.